All of Fox News was shocked when Peter Doocy engaged in 2020. His wife lurked in plain sight for years. No one knew they were together. Only 18 guests attended their 2021 wedding. She covers her own beats, makes her own money, and delivered birth on their wedding anniversary. It's shocking how this power duo operates behind the scenes. Their relationship's truth will shock you. Peter Doocy was born in New Jersey on July 21, 1987, into Fox News aristocracy. Steve Doocy, his father, had taken a life-changing step. Peter was 9 when Steve became the weather guy on Fox News in 1996. Steve co-hosted Fox and Friends 2 years later, when Peter turned 11. Uncanny timing. That show became cable news most watched in 3 years and stayed there for 24 years. President Trump notably gave Steve a 12 out of 10 loyalty rating in 2019. Peter's birth seems predestined for media. His birthplace was George Washington University Hospital, a short walk from the White House. Unlike other youngsters, his childhood was different. He was raised with cameras, bright lights, and front-row American politics. Steve introduced him early. Peter made his network TV debut on Take Your Child to Work Day in 4th grade. Peter sat on the Fox and Friends couch while other kids built Lego sets or rode bikes, watching his father interview celebrities and presidents. The New York Times labeled it America's most powerful TV show. Trump dubbed it the most honest morning show and repeatedly mentioned it on Twitter thanks to his devoted viewing. Steve celebrated Peter's birthdays live on air. Family images show a child who felt at home on the White House lawn and in his backyard. Peter attended St. Albans School in Washington, D.C., a top private school with tens of thousands of dollars in tuition. At Fox News Studios, he witnessed history, which was his actual education. Fox and Friends averaged 1.5 million viewers in those years, winning certain markets over Today and Good Morning America. Peter watched more than TV. He was learning political language and rhythm from one of America's most famous groups. At his senior year in 2004, Peter's objective was clear. He interned at Fox News aged 17 and read sports highlights with Brian Kilmeade. His father excitedly announced Peter's Penn State enrollment on live TV in 2005. Peter's choice of Villanova University stunned everyone. A defining moment followed that decision. He met John McCain at a political meeting in 2008, his junior year. Hillary Clinton had drawn attention for drinking a whiskey shot on the campaign trail days earlier. Peter took the microphone and invited McCain to one. McCain smiled and labeled it one of his toughest questions, making national headlines. Peter studied political science at Villanova from 2005 to 2009, paying $35,000 to $40,000. Journalism wasn't his plan. Law school was more likely. But that whiskey shot exchange taught him the power of one question. From then on, things changed. Campus life wasn't always easy. Everyone knew his father, and his last name implied luxury and cronyism. Even now, people mistake father and son for brothers due to their strong similarity. Peter regularly asked his father for assistance as he tried to make it in the industry, which was full of pressure. He reported for Palestranet and Fox News in college, learning how to handle a renowned surname. Mid-2000s media was turbulent. Cable news grew, but internet platforms were stealing viewers from established networks. Having the Doocy name opened doors, but raised expectations and scrutiny. He felt like every opportunity was a test of his worth. The timing couldn't have been worse for most rookie journalists when Peter graduated in May 2009. The Great Recession began in late 2007. October unemployment reached 10.1%. It was worse for recent graduates at 17.6%. Journalism salaries fell from $35,000 in 2007 to $28,000 in 2009. In 2 years, newsrooms cut almost 15,000 jobs at an unprecedented rate. Many of his classmates sent hundreds of resumes and received nothing back, but Peter got a position with Fox News as a general assignment correspondent in New York. To many in the industry, it was obvious nepotism. Before reaching a large network, most journalists work for years in small markets. Peter avoided the grind. Fox News directly appointed him, raising doubts about whether talent or family got him in. Critics would always remind him of that first step throughout his career. The father-son working together was a first for cable news. While Peter struggled to establish himself, Steve was earning millions on the morning show circuit. Steve advised his son whenever he needed it. even though they worked in different areas with different managers. In 2025, Congressman James Comer accused the two of conspiring to denigrate him after an issue involving Peter's sister, FBI agent Mary Doocy. Fox News termed the charge disrespectful, but it illustrated how muddy things can get when family and journalism work together. From 2009 to 2012, Fox News deployed Peter to the most difficult breaking news events. Natural disasters, tragedies, tumultuous live scenes. Anything to prove he could manage journalism. Testing ground. The premise was simple. If he did well under pressure, nepotism rumors would stop. He provided Fox with aggressive, adversarial coverage that would become his trademark. However, doubters doubted if somebody without his surname would have received those assignments so early. His network rise was lightning rapid. He traveled from New York to Chicago and then to Washington, D.C. in his first year. By 2010, his political reportage began there. This migration normally takes years. However, at 23, Peter was already in the Capitol covering significant political topics. It was where any ambitious reporter wanted to be and where detractors thought his family name put him. Peter was Fox News' rising political correspondent by 2012. Obama-Romney campaign recovery. The morning show narrative of the election was shaped by Steve. On Election Day, Steve stated Obama had promised optimism and change but failed. Watchers heard that tone in the morning while Peter was campaigning. Network reportedly delayed to acknowledge Obama's victory on election night. Features Karl Rove debating the Ohio call live. For Peter, it was a tremendous learning experience that prepared him for high-level political coverage. One 2011 night changed everything. The killing of Osama bin Laden was announced on May 1st. Peter fled D.C. at 24. Sprinted to Pennsylvania Avenue. Late at night, thousands chanted and celebrated outside the White House. He said he felt like we got him. He had no idea this incident would be his biggest career story. Just months later, he was surreptitiously introduced to SEAL Team 6 member Robert O'Neill, who would later disclose himself as bin Laden's shooter. Peter started his most delicate and perilous investigation at 27. After 2 years, O'Neill trusted him to keep secrets. They met in an Irish pub in Pentagon City, hardly a glitzy setting for a world-changing story. The Fox News operation was codenamed Gatewood after an Army commander who captured Apache leader Geronimo, which was the SEAL's code word to confirm bin Laden's death. That coding sealed the secret in every flight booking, production note, and project conversation. The SEAL's tacit silence was broken when O'Neill volunteered to talk on video. It was a significant risk for both. A military blog exposed O'Neill's name days before the documentary aired. Peter wasn't worried. Fox described his unique interview. O'Neill said he shot bin Laden twice in the face and saw him die. He said the team thought they were on a one-way assignment. Standing next to bin Laden's remains, he relived the bizarre moment President Obama announced his death. The two-part program broke Fox News records on November 11th and 12th, 2014. On the second night, 3.37 million viewers tied the O'Reilly factor for the network's top ranking that week. Peter went from a young reporter with a famous father to a cable news star overnight. A U.S. hallway in October 2017. Capitol hosted one of John McCain's dying moments. Peter Doocy approached the Arizona senator on the 18th and inquired if his relationship with President Trump had deteriorated to the point that he would refuse to back Trump's proposals. McCain stared at him and replied quickly. The war hero continued. You mean I'll block everything because of a personal disagreement? A stupid question. His harsh voice broke through the corridor noise. McCain voted no on Trump's Obamacare repeal months before. Doocy's journey to that point took years. He developed Fox News' most controversial White House correspondent style from 2014 to 2017. His words were concise. He asked short, pointed questions to catch politicians off guard in the brief times between events. He learned from producer Pat Ward to simplify political topics into news-grabbing sound bites. Over half the time, he got an answer. In a world where politicians shunned danger, that was exceptional. His inquiries had an edge and occasionally a performance, drawing praise and condemnation. Doocy learned his trade in America's toughest times before politics. He reported from Newtown, Connecticut, after the Sandy Hook shooting killed 20 children and 6 staff members in December 2012. He reported on the Boston Marathon bombing, which killed 3 and injured hundreds, for months later. In September 2013, he stood outside the Navy Yard in Washington, D.C., where a gunman killed 12. He participated in the 2015 Clinton Correctional Facility escapee manhunt. That year, he covered the live-on-air murders of reporter Allison Parker and cameraman Adam Ward. These assignments demonstrated his ability to report clearly under pandemonium. His emphasis returned to politics in 2018. Midterms had presidential-like excitement. Democrats wanted to win the House, Republicans the Senate. Doocy visited battleground states like Arizona, California, Florida, New Jersey, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Virginia to track races that would change Washington. Democrats gained 40 House seats. Republicans maintained the Senate. It shaped Trump's final 2 years, and Doocy was there. His fights weren't restricted to Republicans. Democrats braced for his inquiries after 2014. They knew his style: forthright, occasionally laden, and usually meant to provoke. By 2017, they planned counterattacks before he spoke. These were the precursors to the Biden-era conflicts that made headlines. The White House followed. Fox News announced it June 17, 2024. Peter Doocy became White House senior correspondent. His climb began in January 2021 when he joined the Biden beat. He was 36 and fresh off the 2020 campaign. His conversations with Biden usually went viral, especially when the president used an insult McCain had heard years previously. One of his greatest breaks came before that promotion on January 30, 2020. He had a rare meeting with President Trump in Des Moines, Iowa, days before the caucuses. Trump was carefully choosing his media appearances as the impeachment process continued. Doocy succeeded. His Fox News interview was defining. He interviewed Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, and Amy Klobuchar during their wave campaigns in the Democratic primaries the same year. Harris still led when he spoke to her. Polls showed Buttigieg rising. Klobuchar had just earned a third in New Hampshire. That access was crucial in a field of over 20 contenders. But Joe Biden was his largest long-term responsibility. From Biden's April 2019 announcement to his November 2020 triumph, Doocy campaigned. After losing Iowa and New Hampshire, Biden rallied in South Carolina. After Biden's win, the January 5, 2021 Georgia Senate runoffs were another challenging test. Control of the Senate was uncertain. The campaigns cost over $500 million, making them the most costly in Senate history. Doocy covered Jon Ossoff against David Perdue, Warnock versus Loeffler. Democrats won both races, splitting 50-50 with Vice President Harris as the tiebreaker. This influenced Biden's early administration, allowing the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan to pass. Peter Doocy became famous in the White House briefing room. His correspondence with Press Secretary Jen Psaki was practically daily from January 2021 until May 2022. He pressured her on COVID policies, vaccine regulations, and the trillion-dollar Build Back Better plan. In July 2021, Psaki deemed a vaccine inquiry loaded and false. On camera, their arguments were fierce, but off the podium, they respected one another. Doocy shocked the audience by saying he was sorry when Psaki left. She complimented him for his professionalism. Their best moments went viral. Fans nicknamed them Psaki bombs. Inflation, at a nearly 40-year high, was hurting his approval ratings. Biden contacted Doocy less than an hour later to say it wasn't personal. Doocy joked on TV that no one had fact-checked the president's statements. After Corinne Jean-Pierre took control in May 2022, the fighting persisted. She was the first out gay black woman in the role. Doocy questioned her on her tweets calling the 2016 election stolen and why MAGA Republicans were attacked for election denial. Questions regarding the border heightened tension. Economics, especially after Biden abruptly pardoned his son Hunter in December 2024. Doocy asked her if she owed an apology after she informed reporters she would not be pardoned. Jean-Pierre typically transferred questions to other departments, but her defensiveness became well known. Doocy's hardest questions went beyond politics. He asked Psaki about Americans stranded in Afghanistan as the Taliban approached during the disastrous August 2021 pullout. Although she termed it foolish, Kabul fell on August 15 faster than intelligence projected. U.S. withdrawal ended on August 30th, leaving allies and generating dispute. Doocy asked about the discrepancy between official promises and reality. They stated it was intentional, citing the end of stay in Mexico, border wall building, and catch-and-release. Doocy presented crossing, drug, and deportation data. His mass parole scheme and law enforcement failure issues dominated press coverage, making the administration defensive. Doocy's life quieted after politics. During 2017, he met Fox Business reporter Hillary Vaughn. While covering significant stories in the same building, they worked in various parts of the network. Their schedules were busy, but they made time for one another. They hid their connection for over 4 years. They never appeared together or posted images online. Even many co-workers didn't know. Most people were surprised by their 2020 participation. The pandemic canceled their January 2021 wedding. Restrictions required vendor rebooking, guest list rewrite, and date change. They decided April 26, 2021, and the wait was beneficial. South Carolina spring provided wonderful weather for their outdoor celebration. The upscale Montage Palmetto Bluff had hosted several celebrity weddings. They limited guests to 18. Peter's father, Steve Doocy, toasts as best man. Steve Doocy promoted his latest book, The Simply Happy Cookbook. The world seemed normal, until Peter casually noted Hillary's constant hunger. The words lingered before clicking. They announced their pregnancy. Hillary concealed her morning sickness while covering Capitol Hill. Not even her co-workers knew. Not expecting more than a cookbook pitch, the producers were surprised. It was another twist in a story already plagued by setbacks because COVID-19 forced their wedding from January to April 2021. Only 18 people attended their tiny South Carolina wedding. This time, it was spontaneous and unforgettable. On February 1, 2023, that surprise happened. The White House press room joined the fun. The infant should be named Corinne, joked Press Secretary Corinne Jean-Pierre. After President Biden, Peter and Joe C. Fien responded. Hillary later called parenthood her favorite task, reminding her of pursuing politicians for answers. The same day, Steve Doocy joyfully announced that he and his wife Kathy would babysit so the new parents could leave the house. Bridget Blake, their healthy daughter, was already a Fox News family member. Peter had a different headline in April 2025, this time on America's Newsroom. Dana Perino facetiously asked if he was ducking birds again. They became regular jokes among viewers, saying birds thought him was a tree. Some even invented territorial pigeon beliefs. Peter mock pleaded with Trump to address them. Videos spread widely. Days after that second attack, the Dooces had another life-changing incident. Hillary had George Jack, their second child. Hillary was covering Capitol Hill on tax day when it started. Her doctor stated the baby was ready at a routine appointment. She joked that he was probably sick of taxes. Since it was his son's birthday, Peter thought it was great timing and would never forget their anniversary. Hillary laughed that Peter had filed their taxes early. On April 24th, People magazine announced George's arrival, with Hillary proudly adding "Boy Mom" to her title, and warning about diaper change hazards. Between these anniversaries, the pair made a large purchase in June 2023. The Fairfax, Virginia home cost $1.68 million. The 5-bedroom, 5.5-bathroom house closed on June 8, 40 minutes from the White House. It boasted a full gym, wet bar, handcrafted antique hardwood floors, and private bathrooms in every bedroom. Even the office had a private entrance. Their next announcement included the home in December 2024. A Christmas snapshot of Bridget was taken with a letter to Santa. Dear Santa, baby brother, please love Bridget. Peter's career exceeded early earnings predictions by 2025. He was worth $3 million, surpassing the $2 million estimate. He went from a 2009 graduate to one of the nation's most famous White House journalists in 16 years at Fox News. Many were surprised by his $750,000 annual compensation, not the usual $100,000. He possibly earned more with incentives and appearances. He was one of Washington's highest-paid reporters at 37. His father Steve made $4 million hosting Fox and Friends. Peter's growth highlighted political journalism's rapid profit potential.